Hi, good evening. My name is Isabel Rosario, and this evening I will be presenting on a major insect and disease affecting Ixora, the coccinea species. This presentation will include an introduction, description of the Ixora coccinea, propagation, uses, pest affecting the Ixora coccinea, disease affecting the Ixora coccinea, and a conclusion to conclude the presentation. I will begin with the introduction. The Ixora is a genus of a flowering plant in the Rubiaceae family and is native to Sri Lanka and South Asia. The Ixora is a genus with several species. As a result of the many species, this presentation will focus on the Ixora coccinea. Other names for the coccinea species include jungle geranium, flame of the woods, or jungle flame. Although it carries other names, the plant is generally known by its genus, Ixora. The Ixora is widely grown and distributed throughout the tropics and subtropical areas as a popular ornamental shrub. The plant can be found in India, Florida, Belize, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, and other parts of the Caribbean. This specific species is known as the national flower of Suriname. This is an image of the world map highlighting where the Ixora coccinea species can be found, and each yellow dot is a representation of an island or country where this species is found. While there are so many other species of the Ixora around the world, there are two other species that are commonly grown within the region. The dwarf Ixora, which is also known as the Ixora taiwanensis, and this one is the fine leaf Ixora, and the Ixora chinensis, which is also known as the Chinese Ixora. A description of the Ixora plant. This plant is a dense, multi-branching, evergreen, woody shrub that is noticeable for its colored flowers. Its stem is herbaceous and aerial. The leaves are simple, opposite, decussate, ovate to elliptical, and the image on the left shows what the Ixora plant looks like. However, it does not look as evergreen as the description, but later in the presentation, we will get into further details as to why it looks like this. The scarlet tubular flowers grow in dense, rounded clusters and can bloom all year round in the right conditions. The flowers are red, yellow, pink, and orange. However, the red tend to be more common and seen much more. The plant produces a fruit, and this fruit is a small red berry that can be edible. Its propagation. So the plant can be propagated through seeds or stem cuttings, and the larger population of the Ixoras that are propagated is usually done through stem cutting. So you find that the greater propagation method used is the stem cuttings. The plant requires both sun and shade for growth and can tolerate acidic soils. The plant performs well in moist, rich, well-drained soils. It prefers sandy loam soils with a acidic pH of 5.0 to 5.5. Some uses. The plant is primarily used as an ornamental plant to beautify yards, parks, and roadsides. The cut flowers can be used as floral arrangements. The plant is often used to form hedges. In some parts of the tropics, the leaves, roots, and bark are used for medicinal purposes. So, for example, diarrhea and to treat sores. In Trinidad, this plant is used as an ornamental plant to beautify the place. Now, a lot of places in Trinidad where I have seen Ixoras, they're usually in the form of a hedge, and they're usually found at the front. So, for example, over by the bursary old admin over at the University of the West Indies, those plants are along the sidewalk and in front of the building are Ixora plants. Now we'll go into one insect or pest that affects the Ixora species, the Atta cephalotes, which is known as the leaf cutter ant or the batchat. And the image on the right is a view of what this ant species looks like, and we can see that it is quite a big ant. The Atacephalotes is also known as the leafcutter ant or bachat. This ant is reddish brown in color with long slender legs and shiny in appearance. This species is widespread throughout Central and South America and by extension places like Mexico, Brazil, and islands of the Lesser Antilles like Barbados and Trinidad. These ants are described as hardworking leafcutters, and again later in the presentation we'll be able to see why they are considered to be hardworking leafcutters. These ants do not eat the leaves of plants but use them as food for fungus. Bachat ants are fungus farmers and farm this fungus in their colonies, and because of this they are considered to be fungus farmers. The bachat ant is considered to be a major pest in agriculture. So again, the image here on my left shows what the ant looks like, and it's basically on the Ixora plant doing what it has to do. Some symptoms and damages. The main and major damage caused by this ant is extensive defoliation of the Ixora plant leaf, and by extension, any plant of importance in agriculture. They start to bite from the margin of the leaf going inwards. They can leave behind just twigs and a naked tree. So these are two pictures basically showing the damages that the bachat ants can cause, and as you can see, they actually destroy the plant or damage the plant starting from the margin. So you can see how the margin of these leaves have been destroyed or removed. The image on the right now is a closer picture of the damage caused by the bachat ants, and you can see that over 90% or 80% of the plant has been removed by these bachat ants. So this video that I'm going to play is about 20 seconds, and it basically will show you why they are considered hard-working leaf cutting ants. So I play it again, and you can see how swiftly they're moving. You can see the size of the leaf material that they're removing, and you can basically see how much damage they have caused to the plant. So pretty much that's why they're considered some hardworking leaf cutters. So some control methods. Two simple control methods to assist in controlling and preventing bachat are the use of beneficial nematodes and the use of commercially available bachat bait. So we'll go into a disease affecting the Ixora. We'll look at the Capnodium species, which is also known as the sooty mole. The sooty mole is a common name that has been given to several species of the fungi that grows on honeydew secretion of plant parts. Aphids, whiteflies, leafhoppers, and other scale insects excrete this honeydew. Sooty mole fungi usually indicates that the plant has become affected by a sap-sucking pest. The sooty mole indirectly damages plants. The leaves of the plant are coated with dark pigments which reduces sunlight penetration. Once the plant does not receive adequate sunlight, the plant won't be able to adequately carry out photosynthesis, which can cause the plant to be stunted. Coated leaves have the potential to prematurely senesce and die. So the image on the right shows the black pigment, the fungi, sooty mole on the plant. And if you remember the picture that was shown at the earlier slides with the description, the plant wasn't looking evergreen. It was actually kind of darker black. It is a result of the sooty mole. So the plant was primarily basically coated in sooty mole. And then if you looked at the picture where the bachat ants were, you kind of saw more of that green ever-looking color that was described. In identifying the sooty mole, there is the presence of black superficial fungal growth on the upper surface of the leaf as well as on the stem. The black pigment has a powdery deposit look. The amount of growth can vary from a fine sooty-like or powdery deposit to a thick sheet of growth that may crack or peel away from the leaf surface during dry conditions. So again, this is a closer image of the Ixora plant that has been infested by sooty mold. And in this picture, you can see that the sooty mold is formed basically on the branches of the plant as well as the leaves. And we can see a batchat ant here walking its way through the Ixora plant. Two control methods that can help in preventing and controlling sooty mold. So the most effective way to prevent and control sooty mold is to treat the plant against the insects that cause it. Using neem oil to get rid of sap-sucking insects is very useful. Also, ensuring the plants have enough nutrient and are well watered. To conclude, the Ixora is an ornamental plant that is native to Sri Lanka and South Asia, but is distributed throughout the tropics and subtropics, which includes places like Trinidad and Tobago and Florida. The plant can be propagated by seeds and stem cuttings and is mainly used for hedges and beautifying the environment. The Ixora can be affected by several pests and diseases, which include the batchat ant, that is also known as the leaf cutter, and sooty mold, which is formed as a result of the honeydew that's formed from the secretion of sap-sucking insects. These are a list of some of the references that were used for the presentation. And this is the end of the presentation, and thank you for listening.